Less than a year from now, we elect a new president. Who will I vote for? Well, I'm one of those single-issue voters. One thing matters most to me. Which candidate is least likely to threaten our liberty? In other words, who is less likely to micromanage my life, spend us broke, less likely to involve us in foreign wars that will reduce our safety? Of all the candidates, the one most likely to protect the dignity of the individual is, well, I'm not sure. I know it's not her. She wants to micromanage America and police the rest of the world. It's not him. He would allow us some freedoms, but he'd spend and regulate us into poverty. This group offered better choices, but some of them want to police the world and police our bedrooms. I think the one candidate most likely to leave us free is this man. But he's a long shot. He hasn't been getting much support. So when this businessman entered the race, I thought, well, maybe he'd be good. He's a capitalist. He understands the need for limited government and free enterprise. And I've met Donald Trump. I kind of like the guy. He's fun. He speaks well. But then he said horrible things about immigration and ridiculous things about trade. And I remembered he's not a free market capitalist. He's a crony capitalist. He brags about paying politicians, using them to further his business needs. So I close tonight with just one example of that. There's a law, eminent domain, that allows government to take your property, to use it in the public interest. Bret Baier asked Donald Trump,
what do you think of eminent domain?
Well, I think eminent domain is wonderful.
Eminent domain can be wonderful for some development, building roads, railroads, the Keystone Pipeline. If landowners just won't sell and if government can't build around them, then government can use force, take the land. But it must be a last resort, and politicians must pay the owner a fair price for the property.
Don't forget, eminent domain, they get a lot of money. And you need a house in a certain location because you're going to build this massive development that's going to employ thousands of people, or you're going to build a factory that without this little house, you can't build the factory.
This little house, what was he referring to there? I assume it was Vera Koking's house because Trump once tried to use government force to grab her house so he could bulldoze it and build not a factory, but expand his casino parking lot in Atlantic City. Vera didn't want to sell her house, so Trump got together with some New Jersey politicians, and those politicians, cronies, declared Vera's house blighted. They ruled that Trump could take Vera's property and pay her $250,000 for it. But that wasn't a fair price. Vera had turned down $1 million for her house. Now she was being forced to sell to Trump for a fourth that. I told Trump he was acting like a thug. You're bullying these people out because
I'm not.
they're...
Excuse me, that's wrong. But for you to use the word bully, John, is very unfair. This is a government case. This is not Donald Trump.
Yes, it's Donald Trump. It's you and your cronies in government working together.
For you to call these people cronies is very unfair.
That's not what's happening here?
No, absolutely not. Not at all. And I think it's a pretty sick assumption, and I think it's pretty jaded for you to make it.
Yes, he's right. I am jaded. Watching bullies abuse people's property rights tends to do that. Libertarian lawyers did help Vera Koking go to court and fight Trump and his political cronies. Eventually she won. An appeals court told Trump he couldn't take the property. By then it turned out he didn't need all that parking lot space because his casino, like others in Atlantic City, went bankrupt. But Trump revealed himself to be a bully, a threat to liberty.